The one question that's captured a lot of mind space over the last several days has been, when will the world have a vaccine against the coronavirus? Now, there are 3 Indian companies that are in the race to develop the first vaccine: the Serum Institute, Zydus Cadila, and the Bharat Biotech group. This is a global race. Several Chinese American companies in this race as well. The Chinese firm CanSino Biological Incorporated, along with the Beijing Institute of Biotechnology, and then you've got the Moderna group and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases in the United States. They're the global frontrunners. Where does India stand in the race for the vaccine? By when will you and I be able to immunize ourselves against COVID-19? Joining me on this broadcast, 2 of the most respected voices in the Indian pharmaceutical sector. I want to welcome first Adar Poonawala, Chief Executive Officer of the Serum Institute. With us also on this broadcast is Dr. Krishna. He's the Chairperson and Managing Director of Bharat Biotech. So welcome, Adar. I'll come to you first. Where is the Serum Institute in the race for the vaccine? How much progress have you made? Where does your company stand in the global race to deliver the first vaccine?
Well, Rahul, as you know, generally a vaccine takes 6 to 7 years to develop. But we've made a lot of progress, and with our partners, Corogenics in the United States, we're hoping to enter animal studies by the end of this month. And by September or October, we hope to go into human trials, which means early 2021, if the vaccine works. But having said that, let me just say that whether it's us, Dr. Ella, or any of the 40 companies in the world in a race, they will have to have multiple manufacturing tie-ups, because not one company will be able to, no single company will be able to produce the kinds of hundreds of millions of doses, maybe billions, that will be required. And so there will have to be some collaboration for manufacturing and scaling up amongst all the vaccine companies.
Dr. Krishna, Bharat Biotech, and there's been a lot of reports about the work that you and your company are doing. Where do you see yourself in this race? By when do you think we'll have a winner?
First, Kanwal, I want to say that we are not race against with any company or any country. Let's be race against the COVID. I think that's important. We need to understand that. So I think we want Serum Institute, we want Zydus, we want Modern, everybody to come into the field and to save the society at large. That's very critical. I think, you know, what Adar said, one thing I want to tell you very clearly, Indian manufacturers are far ahead in manufacturing compared to any other countries, including China and other part of the world. So Indian vaccine manufacturers are far ahead. Please take that seriously. The only problem we face at the vaccine field, when we want to do some R&D, after R&D, we want to do preclinical, some efficacy model in animal, we don't have animals model in this country. We want to do for drug controller point of view, a Schedule Y on mice and guinea pigs and rabbit is easy to do it. But then we need a hamster, we need particular rat mice, particularly ACE2 mice we required for that to prove that safety can be all right in that animal. But unfortunately in India, we don't have those animals. That is why we are now, as Indian manufacturers, we are lacking behind US and other countries. Otherwise, in terms of capabilities, we are nothing less than US and Europe.
You know, now one of the things that's making global headlines is mRNA. That's messenger RNA, which very generally speaking is viruses' genetic information being decoded from the DNA to make proteins. Now, the American company Moderna is working on this in the United States, and we've already seen a huge amount of buzz. In fact, one of my batchmates at the Harvard Business School happened to be a senior executive at this company, and we've seen the stock prices just skyrocket. To what extent can mRNA be a revolutionary technique when it comes to dealing with viruses? Because they seem to have been able to create a vaccine at faster speed. This hasn't been approved for human trial. Do you believe that whoever wins the vaccine race, like a Johnson & Johnson, will be a conventional company, or is this more likely to be a new edge, cutting edge, biotech kind of company which uses technology which hasn't been used so far and ends up winning this global race?
Well, Rahul, as we know, the most powerful vaccines that have proven themselves are generally the live attenuated vaccines and the traditional vaccines that are there today. So far in the world, no RNA vaccine has proved itself. I certainly hope that this company does. But let me also add the other hitch and challenge that we'll face, or the community will face, is that we need to be able to have enough manufacturing facilities all over the world to be able to produce such vaccines. So there are two challenges. First, the efficacy of RNA vaccines, which is yet to be proven, and I hope that it works. And second is the manufacturing. So we'll have to see.
Dr. Krishna Ella, in the race between Chinese pharma and American pharma, how do you see that going? I know you don't like to refer to this as a race, but the reality is you've got Chinese companies like the CanSino Biological Institute, the Beijing Institute of Biotechnology working very closely, and they're up against Moderna and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases in the US. There is a lot of national pride at stake as well. China and the United States both competing to be superpowers at this moment, and whichever company for whichever country gets the vaccine first, that will be something to showcase globally. Who's your money on, sir?
Kanwal, just look at it. Chinese have ahead of the game because they are the first one to have the disease. So way back in September, October itself, they know the sequence of the data. So they have well prepared before even Americans thought about it. The sequence came only in probably end of December or January, the announced sequence. Until then, the Chinese kept it very secretive about the sequence data. So therefore, they have an advantage of it. But now US is trying to catch up that. And your friend, you told me the Moderna's company, you look at the DNA vaccine company, they announced in 3 hours we made a DNA vaccine ready. And all these things, you asked a question, simple question, will you give a DNA to your baby when we are not sure about it, what will happen? Like same thing with mRNA vaccine, nothing is proven to human trial yet, number one. Number two, is it a formulation stable that can be scalable in formulation that can be delivered to the globe at large? These are all the questions we have to address it as we go along in the future.
Oh, you're right. This is an exciting new technology because if it can be rolled out at scale, then it changes how technology and research and development in the pharma sector move, because you can really pick the virus, decode it and create a vaccine very quickly. If it doesn't, then it's just one of those newfangled ideas which never took off. Adar Poonawala, what has this pandemic crisis shown about Indian pharma globally? We've seen President Trump, we've seen Bolsonaro in Brazil, we've seen the Sri Lankan leadership thank the Indian pharma sector, the Indian government for providing help. Bolsonaro even likened Prime Minister Modi to Hanuman, saying that this is the Sanjeevani booty. Is this good? Being in the pharma sector for a long while, a lot of these companies, whether they're in Europe or the United States, have had a Sten gun out for all of you. Do you have a quiet sense of vindication as you sit back and look at what's happening globally?
Well, the Indian pharmaceutical and biotech industry has always been growing by leaps and bounds, and it's a proud moment that India can help. And Indians have always been very helpful and risen to the occasion to supply shortages in vaccines and pharmaceuticals for a long time, even way before the COVID crisis came about. And I think, of course, we have to take it with a wind of caution that hydrochloroquine and so many of these other drugs that I hope they work, but we're still waiting for human clinical trials to prove that. And then, of course, the Indian pharmaceutical and biotech industry will have an opportunity to supply these drugs and end the shortages globally also that they need.
It does demonstrate to me, Dr. Ella, is the fact that for a lot of raw materials, we're hugely dependent on China. And if China decides to choke the supply chain, then Indian pharmaceutical, no matter what its expertise may be in producing generic medicines at scale, will also face a huge problem. So are companies such as yours and others in the Indian pharma sector now going to look at maybe manufacturing some of those raw materials itself in India instead of depending blindly on China because it's cheap and easily available ordinarily?
I fully agree with you. I think this is where the government of India should take a strategic decision. Do you want to have one side, you want to price control? And so when you bring a price control, what happens? The pharma industry need to find the cheapest source of raw material. And that is where the leading into problem right now. We are facing that problem right now. The government of India is also responsible for the problem right now. And coming to the second, the vaccine field, we are not depending anything on whether Serum Institute and us, we are not depending too much on China at all. So therefore, in terms of vaccine field, we are ahead of China. And please underline this statement. Indian manufacturers far ahead of China in terms of capabilities and the delivery. And every 2 out of 3 children, 5 children are vaccinated. I mean, 3 out of 5 children are vaccinated with Indian vaccines. So that clearly shows that we are much better league than China and other countries.
In fact, there's data to say that about 60% of the children globally are vaccinated with one of the vaccines produced by the gentleman on our screen right now. So we're deeply thankful for the work that you do, and also hopeful that the first vaccine will come out of India. That would be fantastic. We keep telling Adar and everyone that we need to focus more on R&D. This is a big opportunity. We're in the race. Even though Dr. Ella keeps saying, don't call it a race, the fact is this is a race. Let's see who produces the first vaccine. But the challenge, as Adar Poonawala said, would be then to manufacture at scale, and that would require a global consortia. Adar Poonawala of the Serum Institute, Dr. Krishna Ella, chairperson of the Bharat Biotech Group, for joining me on this broadcast. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.